presentation is about time travel. It's based on different theories about how we can do this movement in time, even to the past, to the future. And I'm going to be connecting with Billy Mayer material, with specific time travel events that had happened to him. If you're not familiar with Billy Mayer material, I will give you the right information where to find more information. Okay? So you will see the links, you will see the contact notes, so in order for you to investigate further. Okay, this is a timeline. On the left is the past, on the right is the future. Let's suppose that I'm here. This is me, present time, in this point of time. But I am here making this presentation because a lot of things happened. You're here because a lot of things happened this morning. Probably yesterday, the year before. So it's not a coincidence that you are here. For some reason, events on the way the universe works, you are here now. So I'm here right now because of many different things has happened in my past. One of them is my father. This is my father. His name is Jaime. My father here, my father passed away a couple of years ago. He was 91 years old when he passed away. This photographer, he was 55 years old. His name is Jaime. And because of him, I am here. He got married. We are 4 brothers, 4 sisters distributed around the world. So we are a big family. So I am one of those members. Thank you to my father. This is my grandfather. My grandfather, his name was Felix. Felix was a very prestigious lawyer in South America, but I never met him. So I didn't have that opportunity. So let's suppose I want to meet my grandfather, because it seems to me a good guy. So let's suppose that I can just go back in time by a machine or something I can do at time travel, go back and meet my grandfather. When probably he was a teenager, and we become good friends. And I found that probably I love him so much because he's a great guy. Nice to meet you, grandfather. I'm here. Probably I will not tell him anything about that I am future traveler. Just meet the guy. But let's suppose, just hypothetically, that for some reason my father died or I caused his death. Wow, an accident. I caused that. Not because I wanted, because I love my grandfather. So he's dead because for any accident or whatever, I caused his death. Wow, so what happened now? If my grandfather is dead when he's just a teenager, so that means my father will never born. Because he will never be engaged, married with my grandmother, so my father will never born. So that means I will never born. So what happened to me? If I kill my grandfather by accident, I am no longer here. I disappear. So I disappear in the future when I come back, or I disappear at this moment. So I kill my grandfather and immediately I disappear. That's gonna happen? I don't know. But if I disappear or I never existed, how could I go back and kill my grandfather? If I never existed, I cannot go back and kill my grandfather. This is called the grandfather paradox. Some people just based on that said that the past cannot be modified. We cannot modify the past. The past is there, whatever happens. If we go back in time, we cannot do anything about that. But there are very different points of view around that, so we will be talking about that. In the road to wisdom, we think that we will find all the answers. You are here because probably you have a lot of questions. What I can promise you is after this presentation, you will have more questions. I will not be answering all your questions. The road of wisdom, even though there are a lot of answers, is full of questions, a lot of questions. If you have all the answers for everything, you are not wise. You are wise if you are learning every day something new. If you have more questions and you find more questions, you will be wiser every day. So be curious, is my recommendation. Look for more questions. So right now, I'm going to give you a lot of questions. One of them is, what is time? Have you think about that? What is time? Why sometimes just 1 minute lasts like an hour? Wow, these minutes, I was counting the seconds, so it just lasted like an hour. But other times, 1 hour lasts like a minute. So what did it change in our mind? I remember something that happened to me when I was around 11 years old. I was in my school bus, sitting on the right side of the window, and in an intersection, the bus crashed another car. Another vehicle get in front of the bus. The bus driver just stopped very hard, and we crashed with another car. When I remember what happened, in my mind, it looks in slow motion. The bus was stopping, the other car was crossing, crashing, the glass broken everywhere. I saw that other driver just jumping in his chair. I'm very surprised. I remember everything in a slow motion. Why does this happen? Why some events we just record them in a slow motion and others just we never record them? So it's the way our brain works. Our brain is capable of store information of the three-dimensional space with all the sensations that receive. So it's time, what is really time? It's an illusion. We are in a kind of a matrix, or is something that is real, why sometimes it's so relative. Can we see the future? Maybe some of you can see the future. Sometimes you have some dreams, something that is going to happen, and during the day you notice that something that you dream really happened. Maybe all of you have had deja vus. Have you ever had deja vus once in a while? Something that you see it and you say, oh, I remember that. It already happened. So why it is? So can we see the future? Maybe we can see it. Or why can we see the past? Everything what we do probably is being recorded somehow in the universe. There is, for example, anecdotes of people looking at ghosts. Probably a ghost is just a projection of something that happened before. There is a famous photograph of a vehicle that shows a guy sitting in the back seat, and he was a guy that died a long time ago. Why that information is stored somehow in the universe and is there. So maybe we can see the past, maybe some of the ghosts as some kind of recorded information that is being stored somehow in some places. Okay, so in some cases, I, for example, hear about a story that somebody was watching a ghost, something that, an image, somebody doing something, but always doing the same thing. But there was a restoration in that house that they put a lot of wood on the middle part of the walls, from the middle part to the bottom, and they changed everything. But suddenly that image that some people once in a while see from that ghost was cut in the half. So they see only one part of the information, but not the other part. For that ghost that was scaring a lot of people, right now was scaring more people because looking just half image, only half of that. So that's what happened. So probably what we see in some ghost cases are just fluidal forces or some kind of energy that we store or has been stored in some places that are just, we can see them. Just we can see something that had happened. The next question is, how can we travel in time? Can we go back in time? Is there any way to do it? Are we going to do it in the future? And if we do it, can we modify the past of the future? Like the grandfather anecdote, paradox. The grandfather paradox tells us that we cannot change the past. But what happens if we actually can do it? Is there evidence that we have already done that? And if time travel is possible, the obvious question is, where are all the time travelers. Let's suppose that in 100 years we found a way to travel in time. They should be here, visiting us. So we will see a lot of time travels. That question is similar when we say, if there is extraterrestrial life out there, where are all the ETs? They should be here around us. Okay, so it's very similar. Okay, so here you have more questions in your road to wisdom. As I promised you, I'm going to give you more questions. In time travel or thinking about time, my recommendation is don't try to solve everything. If you have a question, leave it there for a while. So one day you will be understanding that. It takes time, and with our three-dimensional brain, probably we cannot even get close to understand what time really is. Okay, so the presentation, what we are going to show you is in 3 parts. The first part is about what is time, probably is the longest part. The second part is how can we travel in time. And the third part is if we can modify it or not. We will be combining that, as I told you at the beginning, with some information from Billy Mayer case. So we will see actual situations, time travel events that had happened with Billy Mayer and his extraterrestrial friends. And you can read more about that if you are interested on this. So we'll be talking about predictions and prophecies, a very quick review of that one. We will see something that is very important, especially right now that there are a lot of earthquakes in different places. So we have seen the news. I think the last one was yesterday in Indonesia, 7 point something, very strong one. There was another one here in Quebec, 4.0. A lot of small earthquakes in the San Francisco and Los Angeles area. So maybe it's a good time to just look at back that information on the San Francisco earthquake. We'll be also talking about the role of a prophet and see if the time is a 4th dimension. Let's consider that aspect of time. Can we time travel? We'll be just touching the theory of relativity, talking about wormholes and how the beam ships or the spaceships that ETs use for traveling can go back in time. How can we do it, or how can they go to the future? And also see practical examples, so we can read more about that. Also, if we can modify it, we will be talking about a theory that is very common among the physicists and mathematics people. So we'll be talking about that. And at the end, we'll be just looking at the one travel experience from Billy Mayer when he went back to the 13th century. So that's what we are going to be covering today. Okay, so what do you think is time? Do you think your future is fixed? So you're supposed to be here today at this moment and was fixed? You didn't have another option? Or you have another option this morning? And you say, should I go or should I not go? So is the future like a fixed script, like a movie? Like a straight line that just go from the present to the future? Like a movie that I can just turn a button and just move to different scenes and go back on time or go forward and see different aspects of the movie. Or on the contrary, the future or the events is something that is changing all the time. And I have different possibilities. This morning you decide to have some type of breakfast, you decide to come in one way, you decide to come to this meeting. Yesterday you have some decisions, you decide to get married, or probably not. You decide to go to another city to live or taking a job. Every time we are taking decisions. Is perhaps the future like a white book or a book with empty pages that we are writing every day? So in that case, we have different options. So it's not fixed. So you are not puppets of the destiny. So the first part is known as a prediction. The other part is known as a prophecy. A prediction is something that whatever we do, it doesn't matter, it's going to happen. Okay, so it's fixed. it's going to happen. Like, for example, an earthquake. Probably it's not today, not tomorrow. We don't know exactly, but that earthquake is going to happen. Like the San Francisco earthquake. It's going to happen, and the scientists know that. They don't know when, but it's going to happen. In that sense, this is a prediction. A prophecy is something that we can change. Somebody could change his own destiny. So in Billy Mayer's case, you can find prophecies and predictions in his material. One of the questions around that is, can we modify the future? If it's a prediction, we cannot modify it. We can think we cannot modify it because it's fixed. If it's a prophecy, for sure we can modify it because we are taking different decisions every day.